Hi, I'm Peter Kalmstrom of kalmstrom.com Business Solutions. In this demonstration, I will continue working on the recurring daily tasks solution that I've done in previous demos. This is based on Dataverse. There's another version that's based on SharePoint, but here I'll look into how it's done with Dataverse. So let's go into the apps. And of course we don't have any apps yet, so that's what we're going to be doing now. So when I create a new app, you see I can select here between a canvas app and a model-driven app. Those are the two main options. You can also build a page, but I'm going to work with these two in this demonstration. The easiest one to get started with is no doubt the model-driven app. And that's only available when you actually have a model. Then the model is done in Dataverse. So if you're using SharePoint as your data source, then this will not be an option for you. Then you'll have to do with a canvas. So now that we do have a model-driven solution, we can do the model-driven app. And I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm just going to do a new model-driven app to tasks to do. And I'm just going to create that. So now I have my app and I'll add pages to that. So I'm just going to add a page and that's going to be based on a database table. So let's do that. Let's do the next here and select the table. Tasks. Daily tasks. That's the one we want to use. So the one we created before. I'm going to show that in the navigation. And now it's loading that preview, as you see. So at this point in my demo, I got stuck because the loading preview never stopped loading. And check access did not do anything good. So here we go. I went over to Chrome instead, and there it worked. So of course, I started with the default Microsoft browser, the Edge, but anyhow. So here we are now, moving on. I've seen some reports of this problem with, clear cache and all that, but now I just opened up Chrome instead, and that solved the problem, getting me to what I want to show here. And as you see, it's showing the active tasks view. This is a view selector, much like the one you've probably seen in SharePoint. And as you see, it only has these active and inactive tasks. And you can edit these filters here and edit the columns, but what you really should do is go one step back and make sure that you modify this view and the form that it's being displayed here. As you see, there's the name and the owner of this task, the daily task here. This form is not edited here in the app designer, but actually in the Dataverse tables directly. So you go into the daily tasks, which is the one we're going to be using most of the time. You go on the views and select the view, and then the default view here is the active tasks one. Then you just edit that. And you can select which fields will be visible in that. So the created on is not that relevant, so we'll remove that one and just select the description of that task right there. So there we have the view. So I'm going to save and publish that actually, because it's only when you publish that then it gets updated in the actual app. So once that's published, I'll go back to the form and modify that also. And as you see in the table daily tasks here, there are a bunch of forms that have been created by default when I created this. It's the quick view, it's the main, and it's the card view. So I'm going to go into the main one here. And as you see, it's showing the owner, which is not that relevant really. So I'm going to hide that one. And I'm also going to show the description, just dragging these over here. I'm going to make sure that this is displayed as a multi-line. Yeah, it is multi-line rich text form, so that's fine. Great. So then again, we publish this and go back. And as you see, when I go into my app now, I can go ahead and publish it right here to make sure that all the changes that I've done in the forms and the views get updated. There we go. Let's see. Now we can play this. Yes, that's what I want to do. So now it's showing that in the way it's going to look. So if I go into the buy fruit, yes, I have the description and the name there. Great. Now, as the final step, I want to share this app with people. So of course I've already published the app, and now to give permissions to this, I'll simply add people and assign them roles. So here I'm just going to add Alan. He doesn't have permission already, Alan DeYoung. Great. And then I'll select a security role to him. He can be the system administrator. Now, to make this whole app a bit more useful, I'm going to add another column in the daily tasks table, and that column is going to have the word done to indicate whether the task is actually done or no. That's going to be a yes/no field. Here the choice, yes, no, and the default choice is of course going to be no. So I'm going to save that, but now that's not included in the view, and it's not included in the form, and of course it's not included in the app. So now we need to modify in those three places. So first we go to the view, and we can actually work with this active tasks, and we could do another one that's open tasks or tasks that are not done and so on, but I'll just reuse this default one. And then I'm going to add that new column that we had, and then I'm going to add another filter to say that the column done should not be equal to yes. Those should be viewed, the ones that where it's not filled out as yes. Alright, so now we have the view down there, so let's publish this view, and then I go back to my form under tables, daily tasks, and the form, and the main information form here. That's the one I want to modify. I'm just going to make that column visible also, and I can just do that just by dragging it in here. And as you see, that takes up a whole row by itself now. So what you might want to do is actually modify this whole form also to make it a bit more, well, user friendly. You can have 2 columns in the form, and then you can just drag and drop this one out there, and you can make this description use 2 columns of the space. There's not a lot of modifications you can do in a model-driven app, but this is one of them that you can actually do. So, alright, so then we publish that. So now we modified the table, put an extra column in. We modified the view to filter based on that column, and we have also modified the form to make that new column visible. Finally, we are going to publish that those customizations in the model-driven app. So now we're going to publish that. There we go. So the publish succeeded, and now I can just, here is where it's running. So I'm just going to refresh this now. And now when I see that I have the done column there, when I go into this one, I can say that, okay, yeah, this one is actually done. So I'll say yes to that one, and then I'm going to save and close. And there you see it disappeared. So if I've done both the same ones here, you'll see that those disappear. So I've built a rather usable UI here in about 10 minutes. So that concludes my demo on doing a model-driven app based on my recurring tasks Dataverse solution. Thank you for watching.